Hey everyone, welcome to the Internet Capitalist Podcast with Luke Kish, where we talk about mindsets, experiences, and frameworks that will help you have fun, get rich, build cool shit, and positively impact the world. I am your host, Luke Kish, and welcome to episode number 27 of the podcast, all about how to increase your output. Look, if you are not where you want to be in life, you're not creating as much as you want to create, you're not producing as much as you want to produce, you don't have what you want, you're not where you want to be, I'm going to share with you on this episode what I believe to be one of the biggest reasons that most people stay stuck where they are and do not get what they want. And I'm going to share with you how to interject and how to shift and adjust it. So first thing is, setting the ground rules or the foundation of this concept, which is basically that we are programmed, okay? And that makes people uncomfortable. We're programmed, okay? But it's the truth. Everyone has their habitual thoughts and habitual behaviors and thinking, and wake up and there's inner dialogue taking place with everybody every single day. There's certain inputs going into everybody's mind every single day. And these things, conversations internally, habits, actions, perceptions, perspectives, ways of being, then translate into the outcomes we get in our life and the way we live our life. Is it a good life? Is it a challenging life? Is it I shouldn't say challenging, because challenging's, kind of good and bad. Is it a boring life? Is it a unfulfilled life? Is it an empty life? Is it a sad life? Is it, you fill in the blank, great, bad, ugly, beautiful? It all bases itself off of what is going on inside of us, right? Things that happened when we were children that formed perspectives that then trapped us into a way of thinking without us even realizing it. I'm sure when you're younger, and I mean, like me, I know it's like, hey, turn the lights off, turn off the lights, hey, don't run the water too long, don't put the heat up that high. Why is the heat on that high? We're leaving the house, so these things, these ideas, these concepts come in from a very young age through osmosis. And when you're very young, your conscious mind doesn't even exist yet. It's all going straight into your brain. The good, the bad, the ugly, whatever you're around is being imprinted into you as fact from a very, very young age. And this could be ideas of lack. This could be ideas of challenge. This could be ideas of abundance. This could be ideas of possibility. This could be ideas of dysfunction. This could be ideas of harmony. This could be, you fill in the blank. There's an infinite amount of things that can go into someone's mind. But point is, when you're very young, your mind has no conscious. So everything just goes straight in. It's very fertile and it plants itself. And then you have basically the base thinking mechanism that you then go out and interact into the world with. Would you agree? You take two people, they have different beliefs, they have different perceptions, they have different ways of thinking. You put them into the same situation. That experience is completely different for those two different people. One person could, turn it into a wonderful positive. One person could turn the situation into a horrible negative. One person could be debilitated by a situation that makes another person excited and really enjoyable. Okay, what's the difference here? It's literally just what's going on upstairs. The situation's the exact same. We just said that. So how do we increase our output? Is we start to take control of the input. We got to go in and interject. And, I know some people are in success space are like, you don't need to do any of this shit. And like, that's partially true, right? There are a very, very small amount of people who their wiring just works really well. And the truth is, this is still going on for everybody, whether it's conscious or unconscious. Thinking, perspectives, ideas, ways of living and interacting with the world that work must be taking place, whether it's conscious or not. So if you're in a life where, hey, this isn't ideal right now, then you need to interject, right? You need to grab the bull by the horns and say, okay, you know, the way I'm thinking about these things, maybe it's not that favorable. You know, when I start every sentence, I'm saying, damn, you know, it's just so hard. Yeah, I want to do this, but yeah, that sounds really cool. But like the reason he can do that, yeah, you know, that guy, I don't like that guy. And the truth is, it's just some guy doing something good, like whatever it may be. You got to pick up on those things and you got to begin to change them. All right. So outputs are derived from inputs. Okay. Your brain is what interacts with life through time. Your mind is what interacts with life as you move through time. The better primed your mind is to find positive, to find good outcome, to find possibility, to find solution, then as it moves through time and interacts with experiences, gets completely different results. All right. So for example, if I woke up this morning and I'm like, I'm stuck. There's no way I'm growing forever. I'm fucked, right? This game's like, you know, so hard. I can't do anything. Life, you know, just constantly beats me up. This is such a challenge. Right? Like that's how I wake up. And I then have situations come at me, right? Then I then have a meeting at 9:00 with my ops team and they say a bunch of things to me. And that's the frame that I'm bringing into the situation. What is the outcomes going to be? Not good outcomes. Why? Because the frame that I'm interacting with the experience in life that I'm holding is very unfavorable versus I'm a problem solving fucking machine. Like I am a problem solving machine. I immediately deduce the best possible outcomes and find them. I feel extremely powerful, right? Like think about, you know, anything's possible. That's all I know, right? Like I'm an entrepreneurial genius. All these are different thoughts, right? All these are different base points. But then as I move through life and have experiences, because that's what's going on in my mind, I get completely different outcomes in situations, right? So I go on to that same meeting. It's the same external everything. The outcomes are entirely different. Why? Because my thinking made it so, right? You think in positive terms, you get positive results. You think in negative terms, you get negative results. People like pout this stuff out like it's like silly. It's like, dude, get with it. Like get around more people who have it. And this is how they fucking think, right? Like if you have a successful business person, this business person is not going, you know, like, I'm so bad at this, right? Like there's no way I can do this. Every time I do this, I just can't do this. You know, every time, right? In the overall, right? In the overall aspect of what they're trying to do, there's optimism, right? There's faith, there's belief, there's, I can do this. Like, hey, we can get this done. And it doesn't have to start like delusionally, right? You can just step into that direction. Just do one or two things that you're telling yourself you're going to do, and you can begin to move up the ladder of self-esteem and self-confidence, and then begin to believe some of these bigger things, right? Right now, I'm trying to figure out how to make $100 million company, right? We're approaching 25 million in revenue, most of it in the last 2 years. And I'm like, okay, well, how do we do 100 million? And, you know, my long goal is I want to have $1 billion empire that creates positive impact on a global scale. I don't know if I could really articulate the 100 like I am now in my own mind and like see possible outcomes and pathways as clearly as I do right now before I got to 10. But I got to 10, right? And then before I was at 10 was the big thing. So you step yourself into that direction until the internal dialogue is more favorable, is more broadened, is more possible and open to producing good outcomes. But you got to step yourself in that direction. So now let's talk about some actionable ways that you can go and do that. So a couple things. Your life is controlled by your subconscious mind, your habitual behavior. I believe that today is largely already decided. I think I'm in control of today, but actually I think 95% of my habitual behavior will carry me through today, which is based off of the inertia of my thoughts over the last months, and then that pulls into last years, etc. So what do we want to do? We want to begin to change that thinking. We want to begin to reprogram what's operating us as good as we can. And here's a couple steps to do that. Number one, take inventory. Okay. Do you have doom and gloom coming in? Like, do you have like fucking, get another vaccine and like, fucking the government's going to save you coming in on the news? Like, do you wake up in the morning and watch the news, right? Do you have friends who think nothing's possible, rich people suck, and that they, hate their fucking jobs so bad, they complain about it every single day, but they're just doing nothing about it, right? They want to get in shape, but just, they're just not, just not doing anything about it other than complaining. Everything's always so hard for them. Life is always so unfair, right? Victims get nothing in life. You want to stay away from people who play victim, because in somebody else playing victim and staying around you, especially a friend, you have to accept those qualities in yourself to stay around them. You do not want that. So number one, what are your inputs, right? Are you watching fucking murder documentaries before bed? And like fucking, I don't get how Netflix always has, like fucking murder shit on the top. Like, why do people want to watch that? Right? Like, how about watching a story about, some beautiful, magnificent, thing, right? Like, think on those things, right? What you're thinking on, and what you're thinking on changes how you're interacting with life as you move through time. So like, what are the inputs? Do you have piss poor inputs? Friends, peers, news? What are the inputs? Don't read any books, have nothing productive going in there. You need to stop all that shit immediately. Number one. Number two, back to number one for a second. Likely a lot of that is social media. Get the fuck off of social media, right? Delete everybody who's an idiot, right? Delete everybody who is not helpful and just follow helpful shit. Like, really simple. And then really limit it, because it's still random. You don't know what the fuck you're going to get. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, you have to dominate early in the morning and before bed. For this reason, what we think about before we go to bed marinades in our subconscious mind while we're asleep. So if you can sort of empty out your mind from the clutter, number one, by what I like to do is planning tomorrow today, you should be able to go to bed more peacefully and more sound minded, because you're not worrying and you're not like frenetic and, mentally running around. You don't want to perpetuate that state before you go to bed. And then, you want to have something calm right before you shut your eyes, right? Say you watch a TV show before bed, hopefully don't piss on your brain with it. Make it something that's like favorable. And then, think about what you want right before you're falling asleep as you're closing your eyes. People are like, oh, that's crazy. Well, we're fucking humans and we have imaginations and higher faculties. And most people operate like dogs, right? Like, see something, run, smell something, go, feel something, wag tail. Like, that's how most people operate. Well, you have this beautiful thing called a mind. You can literally create a picture in your mind of yourself that's favorable before you go to bed. And then when you do go to bed, if that's the last thing you're thinking about, and certainly if you're emotionally involved, you will think on that through the night, and it'll marinate itself into you, and you will then begin to look more and operate from more of that thing. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, or that's number one of part two. Number two of part two is first thing in the morning. Your subconscious mind is most fertile in the morning, and it's most impressionable in the morning. Meaning, if you wake up and it's doom and gloom right off the bat, boom, that's going to go in there deep. Your initial conditions for the day, doom and gloom. Take control of the morning. Okay, take control of the morning. Do not pick up your fucking cell phone. Do not just put it up to random. Okay? And I know, you hear, oh, well, Mark Cuban just rolls over and checks his email. Yeah, Mark Cuban's worth fucking more than $5 billion. Okay? Mr. Beast says he just rolls over and checks Twitter. Mr. Beast is so in line with his dreams and goals that he's perpetually evolving into them. So he doesn't have to fucking think about this shit. I'm talking about if you're not already on the way and feeling good, these are some things you can do. Okay. So take control of the first 20 to 30 minutes of the day. have nothing bad go in, fill it with positive. Like, what are you grateful for? You know, what's going good in your life? What can you read? And then what can like you plant good seeds in your mind with about, you know, progress, growth, success, whatever it may be. For me, you know, I read Awakened Imagination and The Science of Getting Rich pretty much every morning. And just I repeat them. I've read 4, 14, and 7 and Science of Getting Rich probably 300 times. And I've read Awakened Imagination, I don't know how many times. I just keep rereading them. Why? It's really nice. It's like, I feel like I wake up, I, you know, write down what I'm grateful for. I send love to anybody who's bothering me. And then I sit down and I read these books that for me orient my mind very favorably. And then boom, that's how I start my day. My initial conditions are set. And when my mind was most impressionable, I planted really favorable seeds that I know are going to lead to good outcomes. I held good thoughts and concepts in there that as I move through life, I know are going to benefit me. So that is how to increase your output. Definitely check the inputs. Okay. Definitely check the inputs. And then basically what we're doing here is we're trying to replace the thoughts that are in your mind that say, oh, no, you can't do this. This is hard. And get the ones that have possibility and faith and belief and change to take the lead. And you have to take control of that process. It's not going to happen by random. And you have to do it over long periods of time, right? Constant spaced repetition of a thought or idea is the only thing that makes it stick. And then if not, it's just a day or 2 days. It's not going to make any change. So hope this helped. I have another episode on increasing your personal output, which is like really like more so investing in yourself and looking at yourself as a unit of output. That's episode number 18. If you like this one, you're going to love that one. That's my most listened to episode. And yeah, thank you for listening. I hope you subscribe. I hope you share this with some friends that you think it could help. And I hope that you, after this podcast, increase your personal output. So thank you so much for listening. I'll see you on the next podcast. All right, bye.